I'm Mattie Rhodes from Quiltsmart, and today I have Sal Bird with me, and we're going to show you how to do a Lone Star border. And we're starting with this fabulous piece of interfacing here, which has all the lines on it, everything engineered that you're going to need. So, you ready to do this?
I think so.
Oh, by the way, she made this absolutely gorgeous quilt over here. This is our Lone Star, 58-inch Lone Star. This is what the instructions look like that go with that. And what we're doing is we're making a border to go around the edge of it with the same diamonds. So this is sort of the effect that we're going to get over here. Yes, right there. That's the effect we're going to get. And we might put a little framing border in between there, like this, but we haven't quite decided that. But today I'm going to show Sal how to do this wonderful border. Ready?
We're ready.
Okay, see, that's a great place for him. Okay, so Sal, you see how easy this is? Even the word start is there for you.
Oh,
all right. So we're just going to put the starter piece right down there along the dotted line. And then with the iron, just hit this without hitting the interfacing. Excellent. And just give it a little quick shot. That's probably good enough. Great. And then we're ready for our next piece. Now you can see that this is what we're making, and this is what it looks like before the rows are sewn together. So we're making all these little rows. So we're going to take a background 4-inch fabric at the top of the row, then the diamond fabric, which is cut in rectangles, right? Isn't that cool?
It is.
And then we're going to finish up with another background square, or rectangle. Okay,
all right.
So for the first row, we're going to take a background piece. We're going to take one of these and position it.
And that goes next?
Yep, and we're going to position it right there on the little L by the dot. Just right there, yep.
Okay.
And then you're going to iron that in the same way. And you can use an applique pressing sheet too for this, or just be very careful with your iron. All right, that's good.
Okay.
And because this is a fusible, of course, it sticks nice. All right, now we're going to take the first color diamond, which in this case is this fabric right here. Okay. And we are going to put this along this little arrow there and a little dot over here.
Now, the wrong side out.
Yes, the wrong side out. Great, great question. Now we're going to do something. Typically, you can do this. You can just put a couple of pins in here. And the reason that you do that is you don't want it to get skewed under the machine. So you could put a couple of pins in there, or you can do something that we're calling refuse to pin, where you're actually using the interfacing as a way to keep the fabric in place. And let me just show you that with the iron. So what we're going to do is just take the tip of the iron and just give a little, not a real hard press, little press.
So it glues it to it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to flip it over and we're going to stitch from dot to dot.
Okay.
Is it easy so far?
Yes, it is.
All right, great. Well,
so
then we'll go over to the sewing machine and do that. 2.0 millimeter stitch, sort of a short stitch. And there's no need to back stitch. You can just put your needle in the dot and just stitch straight to the other dot.
On the line.
On the line. Yep.
All right.
And then just stop.
Okay.
And you can use, if your machine has thread cutters, you can use those. Otherwise, you can just pull that out and
Okay.
All right, Sal, so now you did the first little stitching across. That was easy, right?
Right.
All right, now I'm going to show you how to press it. Okay. So you're going to get all these great angles and a little bit of work. So you do want to make sure to get a nice press, but we're just going to press that right along that seam. Okay. That's it. Now you're ready for your next piece. So the next piece is going to be another background piece. So we're going to take this one and just like before, position it at the dot and at the arrow, just like that. Now, did you notice how there was a little triangle piece under there that we left in there?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Then
underneath there, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If it's dark, if the fabric is dark, that's perfectly fine to leave in there.
Okay.
Unless maybe you wanted to hand quilt through there. But as you can see, this shows through. So after you sew this one, I'll show you how we can take that out.
Okay.
Now remember our refuse to pin here? We're going to do that again and send you back to the sewing machine to flip and stitch. So it's the exact same as before, where you're stitching with a smaller stitch and you're stitching from the dot to the dot on the solid line. Excellent. And then just pull it out of the machine and we'll clip the threads. Sometimes you need to jiggle the hand wheel a little bit too to let the thread release. Okay, now look what you've got. This is really cool because now you can see how the diamond is forming.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But you can also see how this line, that little blue thread, is coming through. So you want to cut that off. So all you do is peel this back and you can turn that under and just put that, actually it's best on the interfacing side, and you can either do, I'll show you scissors this time, and then with another one I can show you how you do that with a rotary cutter too. But that's all that there is to that, and then you can remove that. Then we're going to go back to the ironing board and iron that flat.
Iron it flat.
Here, I think so. Put that over there. All right, so now you're just making that all nice and flat, and you can see how the diamond looks. So it's using rectangles, but you have diamonds. So the next step would be, these are the same steps repeated. So now you're going to take the background, put it in the little L there by the dot, and fuse that down with the iron.
Okay.
And then take your next color and same step, placing it so that it's at that dot and that arrow.
With the underside up.
Yep, even, so it's right sides together.
And it's right
with the
even
arrow
with the arrow.
and the dot.
Okay.
Yep. And then you do the refuse to pin technique. And then flip it and stitch it. So you can also see where in the ideal setting, having your ironing board right next to your sewing machine would be really good too.
Oh yeah.
It's a really helpful thing to do. All right, so
up instead? Or is it better to always go down?
No, that's a really good question. You can stitch either way. I think that probably you tend to go one particular way just because it's less bulk under the sewing machine. Okay. So I would probably feel like a natural way to do it. Triangle, because this is going to be darker. You see where you refuse to pin it, we'll just peel that back.
Okay.
And nothing's going to show through, and we're not going to hand quilt it, so there's no real reason to cut out that little triangle. Okay. In fact, it actually kind of stabilizes the quilt a little bit by keeping it in.
Okay.
Great. Now you're ready for your next background piece.
You need to cut that off.
Yeah, it's easy if you keep your threads trimmed as you go along too.
Right.
Less to trim later.
Yes.
All right, so then this piece is just going to go again on the dot and along the arrow, and then we'll do the refuse to pin technique to hold it in place. See, I'm not letting the iron touch the interfacing there. All right, and then flip and stitch.
Yeah, it would be good to have the iron over here, wouldn't it? It's true.
Well, we could do that. So you've got that technique down.
Okay, yes.
Stitch from dot to dot. Great. Okay. Now you can see 2 diamonds. Okay, Sal, so this piece is all ready.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It just amazes you to see the diamonds.
And you're telling me you're a beginner quilter.
I am.
Wow,
This is it, first time.
Yep. So the next step, what we're going to do, and this is one piece on the panel of interfacing, one of 3 that you get on the panel of interfacing. So you can see that if you sewed them together, you could get a long border really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And finish off that beautiful Lone Star quilt of yours.
Yes.
All right, so now, can you guess what we do next?
I think we're going to have to stitch in between.
Yep, that's all it is. And on the interfacing, there is a little line, a little dotted line right here.
Oh, great.
That's a dotted line that you're just going to fold right along. And then you stitch on the solid line from end to end. Now, the interesting thing about the dotted line is that we have engineered into the pattern a little tiny gap so that it's really easy to fold that right on that dotted line. There's not going to be very much bulk in there.
Right.
So that'll be really easy to do. So all you need to do is fold this on the dotted line and go to your
Stitch
sewing
it.
machine and stitch.
Aha. Now, do we iron it in between each time, or do I
No.
just stitch all of them?
You could if you wanted to, like if you were super excited to see what each piece looked like, but there's no real reason to until you stitch all of them.
So I just on the solid line.
Yep. And just make sure that you keep it folded on the dotted line. So, yep, it's really
Okay.
good. We'll put this up over there. And the same small stitch that you used before. You don't have to switch any of the,
And you don't have to go back and forth and knot it at the end.
right. You can go a bit beyond if you want, but the concept is that you're going to be sewing this to something else. If you wanted to backstitch, you certainly could,
Okay.
but you don't have to. And that's part of the reason for the smaller stitch. And just go to the next one. And one thing you do want to make sure is that this one, the first one, doesn't get caught in here.
it.
So
Right.
just when you're folding, yep. And I always stitch so that the one I just stitched is on top. I don't know really why I stitch it that way, but
Well,
so
at least you can see.
yeah,
Oh, I
so
see.
that way. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you can kind of
Now,
see what you're doing that
see
way.
I'm a novice when I do this.
Well, that to me, that's what's incredible about the pattern. It's because you don't have to be an experienced quilter to sew this pattern.
This is
But
so
you'll get
good.
all the raves from the ladies at the quilt shop.
And right to the end?
Yep, all the way to the end. Yep. In fact, you can even just keep going right off the fabric if you want.
Oh yeah, that's probably far enough, huh?
Mm-hmm, that's good.
Okay. Absolutely shocked me when it came out right.
I know it's still,
I don't understand it at all, but the concept of it, but I love the idea of it. Especially for beginning quilters, this is the answer. Oh, I've got to look at this one now.
this part is always so fun.
Oh, look at
Ta-da!
that!
Look at that.
Oh my goodness!
It's absolutely perfect. Look at that. How beautiful
yes.
that lines up. Isn't
Oh,
that
yeah.
gorgeous? Great job.
Isn't that something?
Beautiful.
That is just beautiful. I love it.
Look what you did.
I know. It's just so cool. I love it.
I can't wait to get it around your quilt.
I know.
All right, let's go
All
do
right,
that.
that's good.
Here's a little tip on sewing the shorter sections into longer sections. What you have is at the end, you have a start and an end at each row. And when you're sewing them together, this is what the end looks like there. And this is what the start looks like. So when you're sewing them together to join them, you don't put the piece on the start side. And you remove, just cut away the extra interfacing that's on the end side. And then you take this point right here of your last diamond and you're going to set that right inside that little L that we've been using for matching up. Just like that. And then you're going to fuse that together. Like that. And then you just flip it like you did all the others and you stitch on the solid line and it'll match up beautifully. After you do that, you turn your piece over and just trim on the dashed lines. And you will end up with your beautiful border, as long as you want, trimmed like this, ready to go into your piece.